Good evening and welcome to the Tonight programme. According to a recent survey, 90% of adults in the UK have experienced high or extreme levels of stress in the last year. And it's showing in the workplace, with 1 in 5 people taking time off due to stress. So why are we facing a modern-day stress epidemic? And what can we do to tackle it? Gordon Smart has been finding out.
Stress is an inherent part of everyday life. Whether it's work responsibility, personal relationships, or financial pressures, most of us experience some form of stress on a daily basis. For me, stress comes from juggling lots of different jobs as a radio host, TV presenter, magazine editor, and a busy family life as a parent of 2 children.
So how long will it take me to get from Oxbridge?
We're often led to believe that conquering or managing stress is the key to being healthy and happy.
But with all the stresses of modern life, I think that's much easier said than done.
The modern world is hyper-stimulating, always asking for people to be switched on, engaged, and that's creating a new challenge to human physiology, which is an inability to disconnect.
The charity Mental Health UK released a report earlier this year which concluded that Britain is now at risk of becoming a burnt-out nation.
9 out of 10 people over the course of last year were living with either high or extreme stress, and that is not normal.
To find out more about modern-day stress and how we can tackle it, we've devised an experiment with physiologist Oliver Patrick.
I've had the fortune of working with people on managing stress for nearly 25 years. My area of interest is how we resist stress more effectively.
Taking part are 2 people with notoriously stressful jobs. Zach works as a pastry chef in a high-end restaurant in Manchester.
You don't even get a breather sometimes. You just have to be fluent constantly. You don't have time to make a mistake, essentially.
Bigger piece. There you go.
His home life is busy too, looking after baby Ophelia.
You enjoying that? No.
You'll be up sometimes 6-7 times in the night, so you get very fragmented sleep. You're never mentally switching off and recovering and just calming down.
Hannah is a science teacher in a secondary school in Essex.
I would say it's a fairly stressful job. So I do get quite worried about stress. I get quite worried about burnout.
To get an insight into how Zach and Hannah's bodies are reacting to stress, we're using wearable monitors.
We're giving Hannah and Zach a really clever heart rate variability device that over a 72-hour window is going to capture when their bodies are ready for stress, when their bodies are recouping energy and recovering, how physically active they are, and gives us a real tool to coach them to improve energy and their stress resilience.
We'll be back later to find out how they get on. Our stress experiment is now well underway. Zach and Hannah have been monitoring their heart rate variability for 3 days. And expert Ollie is ready to reveal the results.
With heart rate variability, we get great insights into what's going on inside an individual and how often their body is ready for stress.
First up, Chef Zach. The red bars on his data indicate periods of stress, whilst green shows times when his body is resting and recovering.
Interestingly, Zach, from the minute you wake up on this working day to the moment you're 3 hours asleep, your body is anticipating some kind of threat.
The area that Ollie wants Chef Zach to focus on is meal times.
So what I can't see here is where you are sitting and eating.
I can't say it's very often. A lot of the time you eat on the go or you're snacking.
You're fueling rather than eating.
Yeah.
Eating is a very good way of calming our body down. Could we think about bringing potentially more mindful, slow eating into your patterns?
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes you can look at it as a chore because it's slowing you down from doing jobs, which is terrible because you do need to sit down and just take 5 minutes.
Ollie's advice for Zach also includes getting outside more. Research has shown that just 20 minutes in nature is enough to significantly reduce your levels of cortisol, the stress hormone.
But I'd be really excited to see if we can get more green onto this graph.
I'm excited to kind of tackle these problems head on, but especially in this industry, no one wants to talk about.
Next up, Hannah's turn to learn her results.
Now, on the Sunday, your biggest stress was actually in the evening. What is it about a Sunday night that might lead to that heightened stress reaction?
Yeah, I guess it's just the anticipation of what your working week's going to be like.
Your highest blocks of stress on all the other days are pretty much first thing in the morning. If your body believes there's going to be trouble, your physiology gets ready for it straight away.
Definitely in teaching, you just feel that you're ready to put out fires, just as often as you can.
Yeah, and that being ready to put out fires puts you in this, what we might call a hypervigilant state, where you're looking for the next problem to solve.
Yeah.
Much like Zach, Hannah's body remains in a stress state into the evening.
Sometimes we need something to focus on to stop our mind from racing. Is there anything that you've done in the past that has naturally allowed you to sort of live more in the moment?
I used to do yoga quite often. If I can find a way to do it more at home, I would definitely enjoy that.
That would be great.
Ollie is also recommending that Hannah tries listening to audiobooks on her commute to distract her from worrying about the day ahead.
Sound like a plan?
Yeah, it does, definitely.
Oh, awesome, very good. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll come back later to find out if Ollie's stress-busting techniques make a difference. Back to our stress experiment. Hannah and Zach have spent the last week following expert Ollie's advice. We've continued to track their heart rate variability so Ollie can see whether the changes have improved their data.
We're looking to see, have the things that they've changed made a difference to time spent physiologically stressed and time spent physiologically relaxed? I'm excited to see whether we've got some early progress.
Hannah has started to listen to audiobooks on her way to work.
It's really helped in the sense that I'm not thinking about work, I'm not sort of anticipating what's going to happen.
And has found a way to escape for some quiet time during her lunch break.
I'm in a small little prep room where I'm completely alone, I should be unbothered. I've got my lunch and I've got a book.
She has also changed her evening routine.
So I've just finished work, I went out for a light run and now I'm doing some yoga in the house and my cat has decided to join me. It's actually brought me back to some hobbies that I'd sort of almost lost along the way.
Zach has been getting outside more during his working day.
You're in nature, you kind of hear the birds chirping. You're not thinking about all the stresses or anything. You're there, living in the moment.
And he has been making sure to sit down to eat food mindfully at lunchtime.
Kind of making sure I am eating slowly and not just woofing it down in 5 minutes. I'm taking that 10-15 minutes to enjoy my food.
They're both feeling positive about the changes, but what does the data say?
Zach's second set of data has improved significantly. He's more physically active, we're seeing a better balance between stress and recovery reactions, and we're also starting to see his body going into physiological recovery before he falls asleep, not just after he's asleep.
And there's good news for Hannah too.
We're seeing on her journey to work some recovery. We're seeing in this yoga more recovery. We're seeing in her sleep depth and quality more recovery. There's more green on the graph. That should mean more energy for Hannah. The challenge now is sustaining this.
It's nice to know that even after a short period of time, it can make such a difference. So if I keep this up, sort of the positive benefits, I think they'll just keep increasing.
We often can't control the pressures in life that we face, but by finding small ways to care for ourselves, we can certainly stand a much better chance of beating stress.